welcome to the latest Scots Whay podcast. And today I'm joined by Richy Muirhead, the founder and creative director of the Scottish Alternative Music Awards, otherwise known as the SAMAS. Hello, Richy.
Hi, Alistair.
This is a timely interview because not only have we just had the announcement of the nominations for this year, but this is also your 10th anniversary, which is always something to celebrate. I think we could start maybe by talking a little bit about the history of the awards. How did they come into being?
Yeah, so the SAMAs started out, 10 years ago now, which is crazy when we look at it like that.
10 years goes quickly.
It does. But actually it began in Germany. I was bizarrely doing a crazy trip with MTV and Sony Ericsson, and it involved going to the MTV European Music Awards. And I was with a lot of friends, and it kind of pulled everyone together, people who I hadn't met before, old friends, new friends. Got really inspired at the time and realised how important music awards are for bringing people together, discovering bands, and forming friendships as well at the time. So yeah, weirdly I kind of came back to Scotland and I had a university project to do, and yeah, kind of started something that at the time was about celebrating Scottish music across some genres, and kind of just naturally grew it from back then, and the Classic Grand in a really smaller venue, really intimate event, to now what is in St Luke's with about 700 people. Mm-hmm. And we deliver it with a lot of amazing partners who I'm really thankful for. And there's been so many kind of things in the middle that have happened, like iconic moments and special memories that are really important and that will stay with me forever. So it's been an absolute roller coaster.
I can imagine it's been a lot of work, but also very fulfilling as well. Going back to that university course, so what was the actual course itself that you decided I'm going to apply this to Scottish music?
So the course was commercial music.
Mm-hmm.
So I had just came back from 10 days in Germany as part of a kind of mini YouTube TV series thing at the time. It's a very, very long story, one for another time, but I
bet things have changed a lot since then. Even you're talking about YouTube and
yeah,
major.
So it was sponsored by Sony Ericsson, and that was the hottest phone on the planet at the time. So yeah, things have changed in that respect. But yeah, the particular part of the course, the module, was to do with creativity and building a project that could be sustainable, and something where you could learn a lot of skills and be employable. And this is certainly something where you learn a lot of skills and have a lot of responsibility. So yeah, it was a very ambitious thing to do, and Jesus Christ, must have made a lot of mistakes, and still do, of course, like anything. But you've got to start somewhere, and I'm so thankful of the uni at the time and for me kind of having the balls to try it.
So none of this is done on your own. So initially, did you headline a small team, or was it how did you do it?
Originally, it was just myself. Mm-hmm. I pulled in a web designer, which I still do to this day because I don't really grasp that side of things. I had a few friends who were wanting to study, were wanting to run events, so kind of collaborated and brought them in and to play with it. And the first one happened. My mum and dad done box office. They complained that it was so cold and never got paid. I don't think there was.
Welcome to the music business, mum and dad.
But they're behind it, so it's important, and it's just funny that you start something at that really DIY level, but it's got the passion was there from then, and it still is today. And
so going back to 2009, I'm trying to think, that in terms of music awards, there would have been the Mercuries in terms of the UK and various other ones in terms of the UK. But what was the situation?
In Scotland, there was the Nordorf Robins doing the kind of charity angle. Shortly after mine, there was another music award that popped up and popped away. But there wasn't a great deal, certainly that I had seen on my research radar at the time. So it was a good time to pick that up, and with things like the internet just really starting to blow up, it was also a perfect chance to implement all these skills that I had learned in university, which have carried me through the last 10 years. So
because that was the time I started Scots Whay, and the reason for doing that was similar to you doing the awards. It was this idea that there was all this great Scottish music out there, and it was struggling to get out there because CDs were dying. Folk had stopped really buying them. There was a lot of illegal streaming services, and the beginning of legal ones that people were hardly getting paid for. It was almost overwhelming. I got a lot of people sending their music to the website, just desperate to kind of have any coverage at all. And what the people who inspired me were music bloggers. I've mentioned this before, but Song by Toad, iTunes, Pinko, and many others. So it was a really small. It seemed that the industry had shrunk, but there was still great music getting made, and the part of the industry was shrunk was in the business side of things. Do you think that was right?
Yeah, possibly. There's this explosion of online and people wanting to put on events and then becoming promoters and having a website, and I think it really changed the game for everyone. And for me, it was a giant tool to be able to shout about the nominees and the live part of the show to a real, at that time, well, still today, an international audience. And prior to that, you would never really imagine you could be able to deliver something like that. So it's just it's a tool that changed the game, and I'm so thankful for it.
But I think it took a while for bands, musicians, and those who worked with them to come to terms with it, because the old business model was you made a solid thing, and it's beginning to move back there with the resurgence of vinyl and even the resurgence of CDs and people buying cassettes and various other ways of getting music into people's hands. But for a while it seemed that it was too expensive to make CDs, and almost live music became more important because of the reason for that. And I think particularly in Glasgow, the live music scene kind of exploded. And was that something that you wanted to tap into with the awards? Because the live side of things is very important.
It is, yeah. And at the time, and still today, I go to gigs when I can, but at that younger age I was out every night, so I was experiencing bands in places like Block and Nice and Sleazy's, and even in my hometown in Kilmarnock, there was a lot of my friends putting on great shows. So that all started to kind of lead me to loving the music scene more and more, and really wanting to get in about working in that environment and building connections with people, and just kind of doing my own thing and growing that and nurturing it and making its own identity, And
well, talking about the live side of things, before the podcast started, we heard Declan West and the Decadent West, and in a minute we're going to hear a song from Lylo, who last year were your live act winners. We should talk a little bit about the different categories in the award, because I think I'll be interested to hear why you chose these ones and maybe didn't have others. So, I mean, could you tell us what the categories are?
Yep, the categories are rock, alternative, metal, acoustic, live, newcomer, electronic and hip hop. And
so how did you come up with those as the categories that you were going to choose?
Well, in Scotland, the music scene, as you know, is very, very diverse, and we could have had more, but at the same time, for me, it has to be manageable and it has to make sense. I've been at various other awards, and sometimes they get a bit too much. There's too much going on with the awards and the nominees' numbers. So I thought we could make this nice and easy to understand. And I think, truthfully, the 7 categories are pretty spot on for what is actually going on across Scotland. There's other awards that are dedicated to specific styles of music. And there's other awards that are suited to different types of releases. So I think this has its own little identity, and it's definitely a place where you're going to discover new music and hopefully find your new favourite.
Well, I guess, I mean, it all does come under or it can come under the bracket of alternative as well. Okay, you've got alternative rock, you've got your metal is such a huge category, we could probably talk for ages on that. Yeah. Acoustic, live, newcomer, electronic and hip hop, and you could say there are alternative, for want of a better term, aspects to all of those. But we'll play Lylo just now, who won the Best Live Act last year, and this is Everything's Cool. So Richy, I wonder if we could discuss the actual process of the awards, how you come to have your winners in the end, because I think that's something that people will be really interested in and maybe don't know how that happens.
Yeah, it is. It's very important, and it's something we continue to experiment with to find out the best way to do it. So at the moment there is a set criteria which is published on our website, but it's basically there's 7 awards and each of them have to have a set criteria, which is about artists who are releasing a lot of music, outstanding music, innovative, high quality songwriting, production, people who are touring a lot, not afraid to get in a van and play in all the toilet venues and do it again. It's so crucial that's happening. And yeah, artists who really want to have a career and be kind of the next thing. It's kind of what we're trying to do is really, it's an award. You have to earn it, and then that's formed, and then it's voted by the general public. Mm-hmm. But the people who form the actual nominations are decided by the team at the SAMAS. So we pick nominators per award.
Yes.
So each award will have 3 nominators who are specialists, let's say, in that subject. So for example, the Metal Award, it will be 3 nominators who work across Scotland in the metal community and know it inside out. And based on the criteria, they'll work as a team over emails, maybe over coffee, over some phone calls to really communicate and go back and forth and figure out what 4 artists would be outstanding on that list. And it's a very, very difficult task to do. I should lay my cards on the table and say for the last few years I've been involved. I'm delighted to be involved, actually. It's one of my favourite things to do, but in the acoustic category. And as you mentioned, you end up getting to be involved with other people in the music industry in various different ways, whether they are shop owners or whether they are involved in funding bodies or whether they are involved in any other ways, critics or reviewers or podcasters or whatever. So you see, you sit down to choose us, if you like. Yes.
Use us as a term. And how have you done that over the years? Do you get to know people you think, I know they are going to work together as a team?
Well, yes and no. Sometimes there's 3 people who've never met one another, even though they may be part of the music industry. Yeah. Something like Newcomer, it can be really diverse and split. Well, a lot of the time it's split over Scotland, but sometimes a lot of people do know each other as well. But basically, we try to change areas up every year. Yeah. We're looking at people who really have their finger on the pulse and their passion is there. Yeah. And people also, truthfully, who have the time to do it. Yeah. Because it can be quite time consuming, especially if people go on holiday perhaps, or some people just maybe aren't as great on emails, or they just like to phone things and be more direct. It's quite a short period of time that you have. It's like a 2.5 week window to make those key decisions. From my point of view, I don't know if you've ever asked anyone this, it really works well, but there's the difficulty, of course, because how I've done it in the past with my fellow nominators is we put forward our 3 or 4 acts that we think would fit into the category, and kind of you're always wanting to bat for your favourite. But then what's interesting, I think, is you get to know people that you may not have heard before. For this year, for me, it was Aaron Smith, and come across his work, went, wow, this is fantastic. Good. And the same thing happened last year. So suddenly you are getting proper conversations. Yes. And I found certainly that without too much pain, that you can, because you're not choosing one, you're choosing 4, and then you can start to think, well, how can these 4 be as diverse as possible? Of course, yeah. You don't maybe just want 4 people with a guitar singing, even though maybe that's what springs to mind when people think acoustic. There's all sorts of different ways of doing it. And looking at the breakdown of the nominations for this year's, what we'll talk about later, it does seem that how you've set this up
almost lends itself to this diversity because you are getting people from different areas with different tastes as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a huge music fan, and I think this is something that will come across in the work that I continue to do. And for me, I always see it, if I was an outsider looking in at this, would it be a really diverse playlist of artists? And I would hope so. And I think it's always great when the nominators do work as that team and really form something special that really is interesting, and everyone will take away something from it. That's really important, and hopefully that will lead to more streams for the artists, more opportunities, promoters following all the nominations, journalists talking about them, podcasters, the press, and for me that's really important, trying to get, let's say, underground artists into the bigger picture of the media is important, because truthfully they're incredibly talented, and I don't see why they shouldn't have that spotlight.
Well, absolutely. And for me, I'm able to then perhaps feature one of these bands in a review on the website, or play them on the radio show, or do something like that. So even if you're just being talked about by the nominators, there's every chance that it's going to help you somewhere down the line. But then you get to your final four in each category, and I mean that in itself has got to be a boost, I would have thought.
Yeah,
Can't be anything else.
Yeah, 100%. And I speak to a lot of people who are artists, and they're really thankful and appreciative of it, which is lovely. And for me, my kind of role was trying to, as I say, amplify this noise into, the wider kind of Scottish and UK music industry, to take notice and to, go and discover your favourite band. If you're booking a conference like Liverpool Sound City or Wide Days or The Great Escape, this is a great chance to really take initiative with what's on offer up here in Scotland, and it would certainly give you some flavour.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that, but if you were doing a festival and you say, well, what's happening north of the border, if it's in England or wherever, Europe wide or whatever, and you looked at the different nominations, it's now, as you say, as long as all the people follow the criteria and are easily accessible online or on YouTube, or at least people can hear what they do, then there's every chance that's going to kind of work for you.
Absolutely, and I think creating playlists and doing podcasts like today where we're playing the artists is crucial in that, and making the artists' sounds go to kind of new listeners.
Well, I think that's the perfect time to play another song. So this was the winner of the Best Newcomer at the SAMAS last year, and this is the Dunts.
When tomorrow comes to phone you. No, you won't be sleeping. No sympathy. No, you won't find it here. Sort it out, take it down another gear.
So let's bring things right up to date and talk about the nominations for this year's awards, which were announced last night at the Hard Rock Cafe in Glasgow. Can you give us a rundown of them?
Of course, yeah. It was a great evening last night as well. The nominations are in Best Rock, we have Fabric Bear, Heavy Rapids, The Snuts, and Walt Disco. In the Newcomer, we have Corto Alto, Capil Sheshache, Cloth, Van Ives. Best Live Act, Bossy Love, Crystal Gallus and the Vegan Leather. Best Hip Hop, Billy Got Waves, Delivery Room, Nova Scotia The Truth, and Steg G. Best Electronic, Ella Orleans, Talisker, She, and OK Button. And Metal, From Sorrow to Serenity, God Eater, Centralia, Inferium.
Gotta love those metal names.
And in Best Acoustic, we have Aaron Smith, Annie Booth, Elizabeth Russo, and Zoe Graham.
So there's some categories I know better than others. I wouldn't claim to know much about metal, but it does seem from a lot of the other ones, live, newcomers, acoustic, rock, and there really is a great diversity of bands on them. Just the amount of live acts.
Yeah.
You know, it's fantastic.
It's great that there's jazz in there. There's a lot of artists who are, you know, from, as you say, live, absolutely playing everywhere, and not just in Scotland, you know, really taking that step to go down south and really showcase.
And in terms of, you know, you mentioned there's some, you know, we've got these categories, but some of them are very fluid categories. You know, the idea of best live, best newcomer, even best electronic, I suppose, allows for a great scope of people. So do you get people like myself, I know you do because I've done it myself, get in touch and say, well, does this person really fit the category we're looking at? Is that quite a difficult thing sometimes to come around?
The entire awards are very difficult, you know, truthfully. It's never going to be 100% accurate. It's going to be a very amazing insight to currently what is going on, and a celebration of that year's culture, and that's what it is. And yes, of course, with metal, for example, you know, death metal, thrash metal, hardcore, prog, hard rock, you know, there's so many subgenres that exist within it, and it's difficult to just justify it as metal, but to keep things organised, it has to also be like that. And the same would obviously apply to hip hop, you know, rap, grime. It's hard to put things into brackets, but for there to be structure, there has to be. But as I say, I think it's a wonderful shortlist that the nominees have had a very difficult job to be decisive with it.
Without commenting on this year's, but I know in previous years, I've had the question, well, this person, you know, has released music that's acoustic, but also perhaps there's a few tracks with an electronic guitar or with other people, so you're not going to get a set definition, are you, every time? It's just almost impossible to do that. You just got to, look, this is great music. Don't quibble. This is great music. And that's how I feel about things. You know, I feel if we concentrate so much on the categories, you actually move away from listening to the music and there's got to be some kind of categorizing. It's a bit like
there has to be
publishing.
A structure.
There has to be, you have to put somewhere on the shelves, you know, you have to put Ian Rankin books perhaps in a crime shelf, but they're just great books.
Of course,
that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So we mentioned that last night was at the Hard Rock Cafe, and they're one of your partners. And what's been interesting to me is that over the year you've built up a strong partnership with various brands. Has that been a difficult thing to do, or have you found that people have wanted to be involved?
It's raising any form of capital is always going to be tricky, and to this day it still is. You know, with the SAMAS in the early days, and it's asking people to get involved. We're in the start of something, and it took taken a long time to kind of get to where it was. Partners like Hard Rock Cafe and Rebel Barbers, and the Academy of Music and Sound have been crucial in terms of the delivery the last couple of years of this. And that comes down to their passion for what I'm trying to achieve, and also giving them a chance to get involved in terms of hosting events, or if it's the Academy of Music, maybe me going in to try and inspire the students and make them want to get into event management, or just, I don't know, like start releasing more music, because there's awards and there's other showcasing platforms that are partnered with that can allow for bigger and new opportunities. So yeah, the kind of raising money and partnerships has always been tricky, but it's also, if there's companies out there who are really passionate about music, and it's trying to talk to those people, and get them involved to share that passion together, and it's been remarkable, like looking back at it, how it's became the way it is.
And has the success, you think, of previous awards winners kind of helped that? Because I was looking today back at some of your previous winners, and you've got people like Lewis Capaldi, Jerry Cinnamon. Do you have favourites that you kind of remember?
I have a lot of favourite moments.
Yeah.
Like the first ever award show with Bronto Skylift playing, a two-piece duo who are absolute crazy. They do a lot of various projects now, but just to have the kind of balls to put that on first, and then the La Fontaines, back in 2009, things like that is kind of cool. And then Hector Berserk played one year, and Louis jumped into the crowd surfing. Putting on Blank Mass last year, an absolute innovative live show with huge visuals. I think doing all of that stuff's really, really important.
But I guess in terms of profile, because pretty sure the first time I heard both of Lewis Capaldi and Jerry Cinnamon, who, as we now know, have got huge followings, was as being nominated for a SAMA. I'm fairly sure that's...
I'm pretty sure the partners I work with will be happy to be part of something that endorse these amazing artists. But it's just part and parcel of doing it. And
I think it's a really interesting part of it, though, because I think there's a lot of people who love music, are interested in music, but are not necessarily aware of the best way to either find funding or money or sponsorship or all of these things. And I think one of the things that you do is to try and show people how to do it. It's another version of collaboration. It's you collaborating with people to say, here's what I can do, here's what I've done, and I want to share these skills with you. But like a pianist might want to play with this particular drummer and go and do something like that. It's all valid. It all needs to kind of come together.
Yeah, and a lot of the sponsorship things that we do, they're very specific in terms of what the offer is. I'm not going to bore you and go into them, but there's a reason it all kind of comes together and works for itself. But a lot of the partners we do have amazing spaces and give us a lot of access to using them, whether that's for if it's a photo shoot or a live event or even just doing creating some content. So really fortunate and lucky to have all of them on board.
Well, we named some of the previous winners, and last year's hip-hop winner was Solareye, so I'm going to play a track from Solareye, and we'll be back after this.
I know I'm no right, but I'm a rang bit. I got you backpedaling, putting rhetoric in pedal bins. I've run in adrenaline since the Medi and the trainer bit. Unsettling, the verdict is I'm better than other elements that slither and try to stick the venom in. Forget the Kool-Aid, I drank the Benylin. Good night medicine, codeine to counteract amphetamines. Level-headed on a seesaw of irrelevance. Deer stalking the predator, I'm siding with the venison. Serving with a side order of penitence. Again, I'm just a menacing presence in the hip-hop halls of residence. It's my house now, you better split. Call the reverend. I need to exercise the tenement to purge the evil resident. Resident evil, brainless zombies, learn to spit umbrella-less. The storm's coming and you're never going to weather it. Careful with your cleverness. The devil's ever present with a verse of scripture and a hefty shove towards the precipice. One thing worth mentioning. One verse, one rhyme scheme didn't get repetitive. What's with the petulant speech marks, the eloquence? Try to bracket me and I'll stick you in parentheses. Your better sentences reek of empty sentiments. Dead fires in your settlements, leave now and I'll let you live. I'm Mr. Awkwardness specialist, speech therapist. Thinking that you're better, you can whistle like a theremin. Heroin and haggis, Paiute, yes I'm repping it. Shouts to focus, skate shop, Noiriki and Rebel Ink. I read the Bible wrong, call me terrorist or freedom fighter. Might be righter cause my skin lacks the melanin. History is relative. Listen kid, it's imperative you get on the right side of the story when you're telling it. It's all in the editing. Ask yourself who benefits at the end of it. I'd still rather be Tesla than Edison. So if as a writer I control the script then heads will spin. And my suggestion is you wind your neck in like a terrapin. One more thing worth mentioning. Two verses, one rhyme scheme didn't get repetitive. Ladies and gentlemen, careful what you're stepping in. The cultures we've invested in are annexed by the mega rich. Like selling off the post office to privatised confederates. I don't mean letters when I say the poor can't get their messages. The system teaches Waynes go where the cheddar is. No need to make things, it's all about how we're selling them. Ash-faced MPs declare that art's irrelevant and worship at the altars of Nasdaq and Merrill Lynch. I'm saved by my own personal seraphim. Angel faced with razor blades to keep me level-headed with. If you're not stellar then you're not ready to mess with this. Wedded with her beauty and the deadliness. She of the temperament, explosive like acetylene. Steel petal shows her metal with a healthy dose of gentleness. So all you heavy kids that revel in your mentalness can chew on that. It might just correct your speech impediment. One last thing worth mentioning. 3 verses, 1 rhyme scheme didn't get repetitive. Repetitive. Okay, cliche.
So we've spoken a bit about the importance of the final live show, the awards night, and I've been to a few of them now. They're great evenings, but what is the importance to you of it? Is that like the culmination of the awards?
Yeah, it's just like the bringing everyone together, all the nominees, everyone who's been involved in the public vote, all the partners, the music fans, and really putting a spotlight on all the nominations for one more time, and producing a live show that's really mad, like something you're not really going to maybe see in the venue down the road.
Well, I don't think you'll see as wide a kind of range of acts on one bill as you do with this. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, and I, as a music fan again, like I try my best to really diversify that and push boundaries. We've had some fantastic moments over the years with the likes of Baby Strange playing, the Van Tees, Shogun, Blank Mass. I mean, it's just trying to put on a show that's going to make you turn around and hopefully take notice.
And maybe come away from something you think, I wouldn't normally have listened to them, but actually I'm going to check them out, because that's happened to me.
100%, and we invite a lot of people to attend, so we're trying to make sure the artists get to play to as wide an audience as possible. Yes, of course, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, certain bands, but as you say, like trying to make them walk away with that new something from it.
So it's definitely grown over the years, I know that. So I think you mentioned it earlier, but where did it start? Where's the first live one?
So the first one was in the Classic Grand,
Yes.
in the really small cabinet room.
Right.
I think it's about 100 capacity.
The Classic Grand on Jamaica Street, is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah, wow. That's
then
a
we
place I
moved-
haven't been in for a long, long time.
We moved up to the larger room in the Classic Grand, which I think is 400.
Right.
And Three Blind Wolves played in there
yeah,
one
yeah.
year, and Ross Clark came into the crowd and played. That was lovely. And then we made a transition over to the Garage. We had a lot of great times there. Acts like Father Son, Vicovi, Holy-esque, Hector Berserk. You know, some great memories. And now we're kind of at St Luke's.
So the last few years you've been at St Luke's.
Yeah, and it's amazing in there. The staff are so helpful, and it's a wonderful space. You know, it really visually it suits what we're trying to do, and yeah, it's lovely place to deliver that type of event. And yeah, I think there'll be more crowd surfing again. There seems to be the only award show where people just sort of lose themselves and go mad.
And in terms of live music in Scotland during the last 10 years, do you think it's changed? Do you think it keeps going on despite everything?
I just think it keeps going on. You know, there's so many scenes, you know, across a lot of the like electronic. There's so many great club nights going on across the city and outside of Glasgow as well, and rock music. You know, you've got everyone grinding out amazing gigs.
Because you should make it clear, certainly I want to make it clear,
Yeah.
this is not a Glasgow scene, although the places we've talked about have been in Glasgow and St Luke's is in Glasgow and all of that stuff. In terms of the awards as a whole, it's absolutely Scottish-wide.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the groups of nominators, of whom I'm one, they are spread far and wide, and
Aberdeen,
you can see in
Inverness.
the people who finally are nominated that there's a real geographical diversity as well as a musical diversity too.
Yeah, but to answer your question, I think the live scene is as strong as ever, you know, and that's thanks to great events that are being created. You know, Tenement Trail is growing. There's loads of fantastic other festivals around.
Yeah, there are.
Celtic Connections is like it's
a behemoth, isn't it?
It's an absolute giant to go and see, and I think all of this just fuels and inspires all the other events.
I think that's been one of the biggest things in the last 10 years has been the growth of the small, accessible music festival. You know, It used to kind of be the size of T in the Park, and you went away for 3 days and maybe came back after 5. And you know, that was the idea for what a music festival was. But now you get ones which are in the afternoon. You know, the ones that could be in all sorts of different places. Some accessible, some maybe you have to get a bit more of a journey. But there's loads of them now. And I think for me, if I was to give the biggest change in Scottish music in the last 10 years, that would, instead of live music, that would definitely be one of them.
And I think as well, like going back to the live circuit, the amount of music festivals that exist, they just feed directly into the likes of the need for awards and for taking a moment to celebrate all the, you know, the hard work and writing and recording an EP, touring it, festival season, and then, you know, taking a moment to celebrate that.
I mean, it is a night of celebration for everyone, not just those who are nominated, but hope, because you know there are other people who were involved that'll be there. There will be the record companies, and that's the other big growth in the last 10 years, is the small independent Scottish record company. So I think it really is a case of people not just supporting their own, if you like, but supporting everyone in general, which I think is something that Scottish music does pretty well.
Yeah, and this year the live show's looking really great. We have the Cosmic Dead playing, who are an incredible live band. There's a lot of hair and a lot of loud, amazing psychedelic music. Clobocop is also playing. She's doing amazing at the moment, a hip hop artist. And we have a band from Dumfriesshire called Frankie's Evil Party, who are drumming up a lot of noise. So it's a real eclectic night. You know, it's. I think a lot of people are always like, what the hell are you going to put on this time? But it always finds a great way to
It's an interesting thing which we haven't spoken about, but because the people that play on the night, they're not nominees. They are bands that you've gone out and said, this will be a lineup that will fit together. So you're actually, as well as having an awards night, you're creating an evening's music as well.
Absolutely, and as we say, like the people in the crowd, record companies, record stores, promoters, festival organisers, journalists, funding bodies, they're all going to be there. So it's important the show is absolutely spot on, and it's an opportunity for everyone to see what we're calling the Scottish Alternative Music Awards, and 3 or 4 acts who are at the top of their game in the live circuit. And
this year's night, we should stress, is at St Luke's in Glasgow on the 25th of October, and I'm certainly looking forward to that. It's just struck me that the SAMAs, I mean, it might take you 12 months to do them, but I'm guessing that there's other stuff going on with the SAMAs, it's not just these awards.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in between. I recently went down to Liverpool and had a wonderful meeting with the people at Liverpool Sound City, and now we're just recently announced it, but next year we're going to be hosting our own event within the Liverpool Sound City Plus conference, which is attended by over 500 delegates from across the UK and Europe and further afield. So these are music professionals coming over. Kindly we've been asked and accepted to host our own little event, so we're going to showcase 3 Scottish artists next year, which is really great, and it's been a goal of mine to try and take the awards slightly out of Scotland as well, and try and expose the artists to more industry bodies. So we're doing a trip to Liverpool, which will be announced when it's all finalised. We have our own music festival which takes place in Paisley.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Which we've been hosting for the last 2 years. It's called SAMAS Paisley Takeover. So we're currently looking at dates for that and looking at what would be suitable to do, and making a couple of small changes just to make it a bit clearer. And
that's not just music. I mean, there are panels. It's like I was saying earlier on about sharing your knowledge and getting people discussing the different ways that music can be moved forward. There's different events there as well.
Yeah, so it's not just a live music programme, although there is a live music part of it, which is outstanding. But it has, as you say, panels led by musicians sometimes, music business ones led by organisations who are delivering some great industry work. And we also have kind of stripped back sessions in there, and poetry as well, which we brought involved this year with Chris McQueer and Layla Josephine. So that was quite an ambitious offering to do within 2 days, but we're looking at making a fantastic programme with Renfrewshire Leisure. So that's really exciting, and obviously we have other kind of more private events for our partners, where we will put on a gig in a barber shop and have some previous winners perhaps play, or just some new and exciting artists. So there's a lot of kind of things behind the scenes. We're also doing...
Did you mention to me a gig in Greenock?
Yeah, a big party in a rave house. In a rave...
Is that a private one? Is that real? Let's talk about that.
It is public. So this is actually on the 1st of November, so it's creeping up. It's in collaboration with Cryptic, who run Sonica, which is a visual arts and music festival. So we're doing a fantastic show with Rev Magnetic and Callum Easter, and Vaj Power, and there's a load of other artists in there. And it's on the 1st of November, so we're running buses from Glasgow to that down in Greenock, and that should be nice. We've never really done any events down that far, so it's nice to push boundaries with that and with Liverpool. But first of all, we should really get this big awards out of the way and make that awesome.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Just finally, on the night itself, you've been doing these for 10 years now. How do you feel on the night? Is it pride? Is it fear? Is it a mixture of everything?
Very anxious
Yeah.
for like 12 hours from load in to load out, but no, I've been enjoying it more and more. Certainly the last 5 years, I think it's really built a great team who I trust and who are fantastic at delivering what we set out to. But yeah, there's a load of pride because I'm so proud of doing this for so long, and also so proud of all the artists involved, because they've been working really hard.
It's an amazing list when you look back over it. I mean, it really is a list of the people involved, the people who've won and the people who are nominated and the people who've played. It really is a list to kind of be proud of, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think like any large event organiser, you put on a brave face, but you're probably quite terrified on the inside.
Well,
to be truthful.
Richy, thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you so much. That's lovely.
And here's to 10 years more. And we're going to leave you with the winner of last year's acoustic category, and this is Megan Airlie and After River. And we'll be back soon with someone completely different. Cheers.